Welcome to NC Wine Snobs as we savor the world one sip at a time. In this episode of NC Wine Snobs on Vacation, we stopped in at the Honesdale location for Antler Ridge Winery, where they have a restaurant and a wine bar. We decided to try out their pretzel bites and their kielbasa cracker and cheese plate.
So the way we did this tasting was we each ordered half the menu because of the way the tasting worked out, and that way we get the opportunity to at least try a little bit of everything. And first up was Red Vixen, made from the Concord grape, and boy did it taste like it.
It was like grape juice, like a can of frozen grape juice that you mix up from Welch's, and it was very sweet.
Yep.
I would not have known it was wine.
No. Could very easily sneak up on you.
So the next one we tried was Diamond, and it had some tropical flavors, and it was also a sweet wine.
You got a little bit of honeysuckle in there, some peach, maybe some pineapple on the nose. But yeah, very much a sweet white wine as our second. That then took us to Dragon Tail. Not quite as sweet as the other two were, and actually it's a mix of the Diamond and the Vixen, which was really interesting because it wasn't quite as sweet as the other two. Kind of a cherry, red berries on the nose.
I found it to be perfumey in aroma, and I hate to say this, it kind of a nail polish aroma to it too, which was kind of weird. And after that, we tried the Ashley Rose, and that was a very nicely balanced wine. It had a berry nose to it. It had some berry sweetness, a little green apple.
It's made from the Catawba grape, and it had just this touch of tartness to it that really made things interesting and balanced it out quite nicely.
Next up was their Sangria, and this one, it had that mulling spice aroma to it. Lots of flavor with fruit blended into it with citrus and cherry. Very tasty.
The first semi-sweet that we had off of their menu was the Riesling. And this was not a sweet Riesling. I mean, it was really quite nice. I mean, not dry either, but very much a well-balanced Riesling. Get a little bit of tartness out of it, kind of that green apple tartness that you get maybe from the skins and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and definitely tart apple, and it was distinctively Riesling, but not sweet. Our next wine was the Vidal, and it was clean and clear and crisp, and it was a citrusy white wine.
And it actually worked out to be a little bit sweeter than the Riesling, is what I found. White Merlot. So this one was a bit interesting because we've had White Merlot before, and we've had it at other wineries, and it has tended to be more of a rosé color, and this was not. This looked more like a red wine. You could not tell that it was intended to be a White Merlot.
Yeah, for flavor, I found it had like a cranberry tartness to it.
Moving on to the dry reds. Started off with Fireside Classic. It had bits of lemon and grassy notes on the nose. Bright and really tart flavors. Probably pair really, really well with any kind of fish or chicken dish, I think.
Yeah, I found it to kind of have an apple crisp flavor, but low sugar, and it also had some raspberry and lemon to it. Our next wine was a Chambourcin, and this one was aged in a French oak, and I found it had a light mouthfeel, and it was a very light-bodied red. It wasn't a bold red.
Yeah, it was kind of thin from a mouthfeel standpoint, very off-dry. Had flavors of berries, leather, maybe a little bit of tobacco to it as well. Certainly not a bold Chambourcin like we've come across other places. Of course, takes us to the Cabernet Sauvignon. Again, a very thin mouthfeel to it.
Definitely.
Flavors of dark cherry and leather on the palate.
I found it was missing the Cabernet Sauvignon flavor character that we usually like.
Yeah.
I found it to be kind of tart cherry water and just kind of thin.
Yeah, the flavors were very light on it. Your big bold cab, this was not. So for somebody who tends to prefer a lighter red wine, this would probably serve you quite well.
And next up was the regular Merlot, aged in oak barrels. It had a fruity nose and had some red berry characteristics to it.
And again, like the other reds, it was very thin mouthfeel, which again you're kind of not used to in reds. But for somebody who prefers that lighter drinking wine, this would certainly be good for them.
And when we got to this Merlot, we actually compared it back to the white Merlot. Yep. And side by side, these two wines, visually, I would not know which one was the white Merlot and which one was the Merlot.
Absolutely. Cran Raspberry was our next one up. And I guess really the only way to describe this is cranberry jello salad in a wine glass.
That's it. That is exactly right. We went on to some fruit wines next with Peach Medley. And this one was my favorite wine of the day at Antler Ridge. I have a favorite peach wine, and this one would be competition with that wine. Just great, fruity, fresh peach flavor.
This was definitely like drinking a fresh peach, just right there in the glass. I mean, if you closed your eyes, you would think it was straight up peach juice. Next up, we went on to Watermelon Madness, which is kind of interesting. You don't typically see watermelon in a wine in a production facility like this, but had a very light watermelon flavor to it. Sweet is really what came across on this one.
If you've ever had a watermelon Jolly Rancher, this was that flavor.
Yep, that's it exactly.
And our last wine of the day was Blackberry Medley, and it was a medley of grapes and blackberries. Semi-sweetened flavor, but definitely tart blackberry.
Yeah, the aromas kind of reminded me of a jam, like a blackberry jam. Had a really nice balance of both the sweetness and the tartness from the blackberries.
So that's our full tasting we had at Antler Ridge. What was your favorite?
I would have to say my favorite was the peach medley. I've got to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite wine of the day out of this list.
So what do you think? Have you been to Antler Ridge? Did you enjoy them? Have you tried their white Merlot? Let us know in the comments below.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel with the notification bell turned on.